Well, going to see at the top, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, the Australian women's team is currently on tour in India for the five T20 internationals. Both are champion teams, building on this series as they get ready for the World Cup to be held in South Africa. The last time that both of you met, faced off, was at the Commonwealth Games in the finals, where Australia won by like 9 runs to claim gold. Joining us today to get us up to speed on the Australia tour so far, we've got all-rounder Heather Graham. Thank you so much for checking in. And I have to start by asking you, how did you react when you received the call up for this tour?
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, it was pretty cool. We were mid WBBL tournament, so we're traveling all around Australia at that time. So Sean Flagler, our head of selection, called me while we are on the bus. So everyone was pretty excited on the bus as well, not just myself.
Oh, that's good. You had the cheering squad going.
Yeah, exactly.
So at the time of this conversation, I mean, you guys have taken the series lead. How does Team Australia condition themselves to play in a country like India?
We're really fortunate that we just had our WBBL over the last couple of months. So we've had a lot of T20 cricket played within our country, and all the girls have obviously been in some really good form in that. So we just take the confidence that we've had in that tournament and just bring it on over here. And we're able to get a few sessions under our belt in the conditions as well over here to get used to the heat, because it's a bit different to back home.
Yeah, quite different. The Indian women's cricket captain, Harmanpreet Kaur, is a household name here. She smashed international records, but like most women in the world, she's been a bit underpaid. Last week, however, when she led her team onto the pitch in Mumbai City to play Australia in the first of the five T20 matches, that all changed. And for the first time in history, the Indian women's international side is now getting paid the same amount per match as its male counterpart. I have to talk to you about, pay parity, your comments to it, and how's that evolving in Australia?
Yeah, it's obviously awesome to be able to see that the Indian women are now getting paid the same as the men in the games and that sort of stuff. But obviously, we're obviously getting paid quite well in Australia, but there's always going to be a bit of a difference between the men and the women at the moment. But hopefully we can all bridge that gap in every country around the world, and hopefully we can be able to get paid pretty similar figures soon.
Yeah. Well, it's very exciting for women's sport to actually you look at the large numbers sort of turning up and watching the game. What's been your reactions to the crowds here in India and the fans?
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome. Obviously, the two games at DY Patel, there was some unbelievable crowds. I think there was over 47,000 there in the second game, and that felt like it was probably could have been a World Cup final, that game, to be completely honest. I think the atmosphere that was brought by that crowd, and I guess the way that the game went as well was into a super over. I think that's a really good stepping stone for, I guess, the women's game, and hopefully we can keep seeing crowds and amazing games like that as well.
Well, you showed tremendous form at the WBBL, and India has announced its inaugural WIPL, March 3rd to 26th. Would you be up to being dropped in?
Oh, absolutely. I think anyone would be. I think you always got to throw your name in the hat with all these sort of tournaments coming up, but I guess there's only so many spots that can be taken, so obviously you got to put your name in it, and then just see what happens from there, I guess.
Well, fingers crossed for you. Cricket, is an evolving sport with new formats like the 100 or the 100 ball tournament, the inaugural season for which you played. Do you have like the one format, Heather, that's your favorite, or that is your format?
Oh, I don't think so, but I think the way that the game's going and the competitions all around the world now that are popping up, I think T20 cricket's obviously a major focus, and it's where all, I guess, the money and the people come to watch and all that sort of stuff. So I think anyone that's smart enough will want to play more T20 cricket. So I guess the better I can get at that, the more opportunities I'll be able to have.
Well, speaking of cricket, I have to ask you a little bit about your backstory. How did you pick cricket as a sport?
Yeah, it's a good question. I have two older brothers, so whatever they did, I wanted to do, and they played cricket in the summertime back home in Australia. So I just followed them in their footsteps. So we played soccer in the winter and then cricket in the summer, and then had to make the choice. So cricket was the winner because I was a little bit better at it.
Yeah. And the biggest challenge for you thus far in your sporting journey, how did you address that?
Oh, I've had a few, and it's probably all been more illnesses than injuries, to be completely honest. I think one of the two big ones that I've had is dengue and glandular fever, and they rule you out for a fair while. So I was probably off the park for about 4 to 6 months with each of those. So I think just being able to get the body and the mind back in shape for that after that was quite challenging.
Now, here's something interesting. Wearing whites, the AFLW announced its decision to ditch white shorts from uniform policy to tackle period stigma, and hoping that this would encourage more women or more girls to get into sport. Ditching whites in test matches, should that be addressed by the cricketing fraternity?
Oh, I think there's probably got to be a conversation around it, definitely. But I think, the fact that there's not too many tests around the women's competition players, I think, it would be a really interesting conversation into the future. But the AFLW and all the other sports are doing with getting rid of the white pants, I think it's a great initiative, and the fact that it's going to be able to make females feel more comfortable in the sport that they play and that they love, is a great stepping stone.
How can we make sport more accessible for girls and more of a viable profession for girls? Can we get your comments or even some tips for the same?
Oh, I think the white shorts is probably a great place to start. I think to, I guess, be able to make anyone feel comfortable in what they're wearing, I think is a major thing. I think being able to get anyone into sports, I think it's probably wearing nice, colourful uniforms. I guess making sure if there's accessible spaces that are indoors so girls don't have to get changed outdoors and that sort of stuff. And I think just providing those safe spaces for, I guess, young girls to be able to play any sort of sport, not just cricket, and be able to just really enjoy what they're able to do with their mates.
Okay, if you had to outline your finest moment in your journey in the sport, what would that be?
Oh, that's a great question. I almost think my debut a few days ago in the second game here at DY Patel in front of 47 odd thousand people in a super over. I think you probably couldn't dream of a better debut than that. So I think that's probably got to be up there with one of my finest moments.
And to stay fit, fitness hacks for you to stay in form. Can you share one with us?
I think their abs are made in the kitchen. They're definitely not 100% made in the gym. So I think you obviously got to watch what you eat. But I think just being able to make fitness more fun than I guess boring. That's probably
Okay.
the best thing to do.
Let's talk about your India trip thus far, experiences in the city and, just with the fans.
Yeah, it's been really cool being able to walk around on the streets and that sort of stuff and just embrace the culture of Mumbai and India. I think we obviously don't get to experience it too much, especially over the last few years with COVID and that. So it's been really nice to just be able to get out, go explore and just be around different, I guess, the community and different vibe and that sort of stuff. So it's been good.
Okay. Have you sampled the food, that kind of thing?
Not the food off the street. I better steer clear of that. But I think, the Indian food. Not many of the girls like spice too much, so
Yeah.
most people eat the plain Jane boring buttered chicken. But I think, no, I do love a bit of spice, so I've been able to have a few more dishes and just the buttered
Maybe after you're done with
chicken.
the tournament, you could get a little bit adventurous. So, a word to the Indian girls in schools who are hesitant to pick a sport as a career option. What would you want to say to them?
Oh, I wouldn't single yourself to any one sport, to be honest. Play every sport you can, and then decide at the time that needs to be, I guess, made what you want to do. Because I think the more sports you can do, um, the better life skills, the better, I guess, friendships and bonds you make with people. So the more the merrier in terms of sport.
Well, Christmas is around the corner. What would you like to see under the tree?
That's a great question. A new laptop because mine's broken.
Well, that's good. I hope Santa's listening.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Okay. Do you believe in New Year resolutions? And if you do, what's yours?
Yeah, I don't really believe in New Year resolutions, to be honest. I feel like the years go too quick now to be able to do it. But I think if I had one, it would just to be able to play some more games for my country.
All right. Okay. We're going to keep our fingers crossed for
Mm.
you. And as we wrap up, do you listen to music? And what's your top song at the moment?
Oh, that's a good question because Spotify has just come out with the lists of what you've listened to in the last year.
Yeah.
But no, I think one of my favorite artists I listen to is Tones and I.
Yeah. She's got a new one out called Charlie.
Yeah, yeah, it's very good, very good.
It is good. And we love Tones and I. We're going to play her out for you. Heather, thank you so much. Good luck with everything going forward. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and thanks for having me on.
Awesome. We're done. Thank you so much, Heather. That was awesome. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much for that.
94.3
One world, your station.
Radio 1.